Hi, this is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and I am here today to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Escape: Curse of the Temple. Escape is a real-time cooperative game where you're rolling dice and moving people around a temple, kind of Indiana Jones style, but in a team. You're gathering up some gems and you're trying to get out of the temple. This is kind of a unique game to talk about in this series because Escape, my favorite game mechanism in Escape is also my least favorite thing about actually playing Escape. It isn't a game that I particularly enjoy. It's very clever, and I actually think it's a brilliant game, but it stresses me out to play it. And so I don't want to be stressed out when I play games. So the mechanism is the core mechanism of the game, which is the fact that it's a real-time game. And the reason I think this is brilliant is because it prevents quarterbacking, which is something that you see in a lot of cooperative games, where one player will direct the actions of all the other players and they're in complete control and the other players don't feel like they're making decisions for themselves. In Escape, it's really hard to do that. People are shouting at each other to do stuff, but you don't have any control over what other people do, and you don't really have time to argue about it. You just gotta go, because I think it's a 10-minute game. There's a timer, a literally 10-minute timer. So I remember the time that I played it. I've only played it once. We kind of had a plan before we started the timer, and then as like half a second before we set the timer, I noticed something shiny off in another room, and I was like, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna see what happens, and no one could stop me, which was great in a cooperative game. And we kind of had to respond to that and come together and try to win. I think we actually did win that game by a hair. And so I love this idea that it's a real-time game where it's happening in real time. It really does feel like you're running through a temple gathering stuff with a huge amount of time pressure to achieve your goal. I thought that was really neat. A game that I'll soon be playing, Millennium Blades. I've heard that there's a real-time. It's not a cooperative game. It's a competitive game. It has a real-time trading element to it, which I think is very clever. In general, it's not a real-time game, but it has that one specific segment is a real-time mechanism, and I just think that's brilliant. So I'm curious to hear what you think. If there are other games that you know of, I can think of a few more, but you can tell me about your favorites that operate in real time, or if a segment of the game that kind of matches the theme happens in real time. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thanks.